What's going on, everyone? It's OxxyOG, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. I have 11 WoW websites, WoW related, that I think you may find interesting and useful. I'm going to go into their functionality and how they are used. If you know some of them, great. There may be some that you don't know, or I may show you some tips on ways that you can use each of these websites to your advantage to try to improve at the game or have other tools to make things more convenient. I do want to give one honorable mention. I didn't add it to the list, but I did want to talk about it, and it's wago.io. And that is the website that you get all of your like weak auras from. So if you use the weak aura add-on, when you import them, they come from that website. So I don't really want to dive into that one too much because it's just where we get them from. So if you're using weak auras, you should be aware of it. So the first one that I want to go over is actually going to be one that most people probably know, but there's some things that maybe you're not aware that it could do, and that's just Radar.io. So I want to show a couple of things here. Everybody is most likely aware that this is how you track your stats and where you are for rating, like your raid progress, your Mythic Plus rating. You can check your gear, everything like that. Also tells you, like, you can look up specific people and what dungeons they've recently timed. But another thing that you could do that's cool with Radar.io is you can go to Mythic Plus. This is something that I use a lot. You go to Mythic Plus, Spec Leaderboards, Warrior, and then Fury. For me, because I'm looking specifically at Fury, and I can look at all of the top Fury players, see what their score is, what I should be trying to aim for to improve, and I can click on one, check out their gear, compare it to mine, copy their talents, things like that. Um, Another thing that you can do is go to the leaderboard. So I usually don't do all run leaderboard because it counts untimed runs, but you can check out the timed leaderboard here and see compositions. So this is going to show you like what is the most run tanks, healers, and some of these higher keys. And then you can also see spec representation. So for example, if I'm looking for Fury here, I would love to see that, oh, Fury's got 3.5% representation across all keys. You can then narrow it down to per key and also key levels. So under this all Mythic Plus levels, I like to, because I try to push high content, I like to see what's good, what's showing up in the higher keys. So I might filter it by only levels 15 and up and try to see what representation looks like there. As you can see, there's like a ton of Resto Shaman, Frost DKs, your Arcane Mages, and then it starts to dwindle down a little bit to the poor Dev Evokers and stuff in these levels. But this is a pretty cool way to just take a look at the overall data, how runs are looking for people, what people are playing, because at the end of the day, uh, whether everything is pretty close or not in power, you're always going to have a meta form. So it's nice to know what's really strong as you get higher and need to push out every last bit of power possible. Now, that being said, this isn't the end all be all. Inviting these top specs isn't going to just instantly time your key for you. You can time keys with these lower specs if they're great players and you guys mesh well together. So that's Radar.io. There's also recruitment here for looking for guilds, looking for raid groups, things like that that you can go in and apply for, or put out like a free agent posting that you're looking for a team and people can come and pick you up. So Radar.io has a lot of functionality. I feel like a lot of people just use it to look up their character, which is great. I mean, it's awesome. And we use the in-game add-on to track things and look at people's score or their raid progress, but you can also use it to find out a lot of other information that is very useful. So we'll move on to the next website, which is going to be raidplan.io. So we'll dive into one of the raid websites that I have here. So raidplan.io, you can use, if you've ever seen or been in a raid group where they go over like, hey guys, this is what we're going to do for this boss. They have like a picture where they have a bunch of symbols on it that show you like what you're going to be doing. This is most likely where they made it. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a quick like mock one. So we'll go into Manaforge Omega, create a raid plan. So this is Plexus Sentinel. I could change this. So like let's go to Forge Weaver. Or actually, let's just go to Fractalus because that's the one where you usually have a lot of markers. So this is where, I could drag over and say like, all right, Fractalus is here. He's going to be he's gonna be facing this way. And then we got like star, circle. So this is how raid plans are made, if you've ever wondered. And this will come in handy for a lot of times just for raid leaders, but for anybody that's looking to try to map out how they're going to do something, you know, you have your different specs that you could put here, or you could put that ranged are going to be out here, melee in here, you know, tank stack over here kind of deal. And then they also have like arrows and other functionality that you can like stretch out uh, and make bigger. So a lot of different things that you can do with raidplan.io. It's a little bit more like simple. It has one purpose for the most part that you're gonna get it to serve for you, but very useful if you're trying to push into higher raid groups. So that is raidplan.io. Next is going to be one of my favorite websites. So this is tiercraft.gg. I actually love this website like big time. So Tiercraft is really cool. First of all, it's going to show you based off stats what the most played comp is now, as far as like just the 5 specs that show up the most in keys. And at the moment, it's Prot Warrior, Resto Shaman, Frosty K, Arcane Mage, and Havoc Demon Hunter. And then on the rise, showing like what the next up is, like that's being played a lot recently, which is a comp that I is a little odd. There must just be a 5 stack that plays a lot together. So I take these stats for what they are, but at least it shows you like what's being played a lot. Prot Paladin, Resto Druid, and then these 3. You got Fury Warrior, Destro Lock, and Beast Mastery Hunter. But that being said, the cool things that you can do with this is you can do M plus team spec view. So I like this a lot. It helps me to visualize. So let me just create a quick comp and show you how this works. So let's just say if I wanted to put an S tier comp right now, like what I like to run with the most, I'd probably say like a Prot Paladin, where is it? Resto Shaman, me, of course, Fury Warrior, Frosty K, and the third spec for DPS is kind of like fill for me always. Let's just say MM Hunter. Yeah, let's just say MM Hunter. Although I don't mind taking like Feral for verse, but anyway, let's just say this is my S plus tier comp. So what's cool about this is you can go in and theory craft comps so that you understand like what you might want, especially if you're not super knowledgeable about what all of the specs do in the game, because not everybody has been playing forever and you might just not have that knowledge, which is fine. So right here, it'll list out what all of your party buffs are going to be. So you can see we have 3% DR from Devo Aura from the Paladin. We have Wind Fury from, or Sky Fury, whatever, from the Shaman for the Mastery. You have your attack power from the Warrior, and then Hunter's Mark from the Hunter. So this will give you your group buffs, and then it will also tell you what like extra things you have. So we have 2 B reses, one from the Paladin and one from the Death Knight. We have 2 lusts, so 2 different people that can cast lust, 5 kicks, 3 stuns, 2 dispels, and 1 soothe. So this is important because you do have certain dungeons where soothes need to be done, or you need like dispels, poison cleanses, whatever, Arakara, like stuff like that. So if you want to come and look and see what you want to try to build to make for the best comp, you can. Like for example, if I sub in a sub rogue here, you know, it'll change up. I have now the poison for DR, and yeah, it's pretty cool. I like this a lot. You can also do this. You can make like a little tier list. You can also go to you can do it by hero talent, but you can also look at a tier list here and create your tier list too. So if you've ever seen that, people making tier lists, this is most likely where they're doing it. So yeah, that is tiercraft.gg. Next, I'm going to go over another one that could be a little bit familiar, but want to make sure that everyone's aware of it because I think it's really important. And if you want to try to improve as a player, this is something that you're definitely going to know about. First, I'm going to pull this up. So I have an add-on here called SimulationCraft. I'll put it on the screen. But for this, in order to use raid bots, which is what we're going to go over next, you need to, after you have the add-on, type in /simc. You can't see me typing it because of my camera, but just now I'm typing /simc. That's going to pop this up, and then you're going to copy it. All right. And then here on raybots.com, all right, you have Top Gear, Drop Optimizer, Quick Sim, and Advanced. So I'm gonna go over these three quickly. Top Gear, Drop Optimizer, Quick Sim. So Quick Sim is going to be like if I just wanted to simulate, and I'll go ahead and get one running real fast. I'm going to paste what I just copied from the game in here, and it's going to show me all of my talents and everything, and then I can just go ahead and run a quick sim. So under simulation options, you can pick like how many people you want to, how many enemies you want to make it so that it's simulating you against. A lot of times we're just doing like one boss for 7 minutes or 5 minutes, depending how like if you're doing it for raid, you might be doing 5 minutes. If like you guys are so geared that the boss is dying in 5 minutes, you want to see what your damage would be. But I'm gonna do one boss 7 minutes, um, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and start a sim, and then real fast. I just want to go over what the other ones do. So, boom, pull that up. So this simulation's running. You can see I'm in queue, and it won't take that long, and I'll show you how that works. With these, so with Top Gear, this is a very useful one. First thing, when you open your vault, you can take your /simc from in the game after you open your vault and place it in here. And what it will do is, I don't have a vault right now, so I can't show you that, but it gives you all gear that you're holding on to, including gear that is in your vault currently, and you can choose them as selections in here so that you can like pin them against each other and see which one would go for more damage. Now you have to keep in mind some things are, for example, uh, if I do eradicating Arcano Core against these other two trinkets, but I do it for like 5 targets, these are gonna win like crazy. But if I do it for single target, then Arcano Core will most likely beat out Pacemaker. So you got to keep in mind what kind of sim you're running, if it's multi-target or single target, and that could vary. So you want to run multiple sims usually, but you can come in here and compare gear for your vault so you could try to pick the best option. Also, another thing you could do is compare theoretical things. So let's just say I wanted to add in a Curstone Idol, right? So I can do Curstone Idol here, right? And then I could do 723 item level, which is max, and add it. And when I do that, it's going to add it down here so that I can see, like, I can run a simulation as if I had it, even though I don't. And you could do this for crafted gear with different secondary stats. You can do different gems. Like, for example, if I wanted to see how I would have a damage change for different gems in my ring here, right? I can click this plus and just do remove gems. Boom. Now I have a an empty ring here with no gems. You can come down this way to towards the bottom, and you can pick what gems you want to like theoretically insert here. So there's a lot of really cool things. You can also, I do this a lot, just check to make sure that I'm using the best fiber for my cloak. So I'll run all 4 of these, and I'll come up to my cloak here, the Rishi wraps, and I will remove the gems, and I'll run that sim to see how those 4 do. Now, just to show, so this is saying with the things that I currently have equipped for, I believe this is a single target sim. Uh, this is my damage that I should be doing in the 7 minute sim. So 7 minutes of a single boss with like 100% perfect uptime and using the most ideal rotation. This is it. It's also assuming I have all buffs, and it's going to tell me what my uptime should be on different um, like buffs here, like just your constant buffs. So frenzy should be up. Like I should never really be losing it. You never should it drop in rage for the most part, except for like a very one-off situation, especially in single target like that. And it's also going to show you a theoretical opener and then rotation. So you can scroll through here and see exactly how it all pans out. So that is raid bots. I wanted to go over a little bit of functionality. Oh, and I didn't cover drop optimizer. So lastly, for drop optimizer, if I just paste that in here, you can, there's a website called WoW Audit that I use here. We use it with the guild, but that's like an extra. Maybe I'll go over that in another video, but you can do drop optimizer with like Manaforge Omega, and I can put in like heroic and fully upgraded, right? So this is gonna give me all gear from the raid all drops and sim it against my current gear and tell me what would be upgrades. You can also do it like if you have premium, you can do all the dungeons at once and see what dungeons you should target for new gear, if any. Or you can just do one dungeon at a time and do the same thing. And you can also look to see like what you should be hoping for from Vault. So yeah, that's the functionality of raid bots. It's really really useful. Recommend everybody use it if you're trying to improve your game. So yeah. Next, we're going to go over mythicstats.com. So I use this one a lot. It helps me keep up with, first of all, it helps me double check myself and make sure that I'm doing the damage that I think I should be. And it also helps me take a look at like what specs are doing good damage in dungeons that I want to run. So if you go to DPS here, you have, first of all, you can filter it by dungeon. All right. Second of all, you can look at like each week. So for example, if I want to have a terrible flashback to week 1 of season 3, I can see that Fury Warrior was down here and life was rough. Then the buffs came in for arms and Fury was just terrible and I was about to quit. So yeah, but things change and now we're in week 6. So let's talk about this. I've had people tell me like, oh, that website's useless. It's super useful. The only thing I will say is do not care too much about this average number, right? So you have average. This is the average damage over all logs for this week for each spec. So the reason I say like don't pay attention to that one is because that can be kind of like it's still going to be relatively accurate, but it can be kind of skewed based on like if people died a lot in a dungeon or if they just don't have good gear or anything like that. You want to top here, this top column is going to be for the top like 1% of parses or damage done in dungeons for 13 to 20 keys. So this is going to just be for higher level keys. So the top 1% will give you a really good idea of how your spec is damaging when played at a great level. And then from there, you can go based off of your own skill level. It's also going to tell you about healers. Not that they're damaged. I mean, it matters, but you're not going to bring a preservation evoker just because they do damage. So that one's all. Don't pick your healer based off the damage that they do. And then it'll tell you tanks as well. But I use it mainly for DPS. I can also look and let's say I run a Dawnbreaker and I do 7.5 million overall. I can go in here and be like, okay, the top 1% was doing 7.7 in a Dawnbreaker. From in-game details to the Warcraft logs that this pulls from, this 7.7 mil, it like in game you might see like 8.2 million DPS, and then it would show up in here and in Warcraft logs as like 7.7, for example. It's because I think it like Warcraft logs doesn't calculate like downtime or the game in game doesn't. I don't know how that one works, but regardless, your number changes from in game to here. But just know that your damage in game might be a little higher than this, and you might still it'll come down. I don't know. It's always confused me, but so yeah, you can look at just how each spec's performing. You got to also take into account the sample size. Like for example, Outlaw Rogue, if there's only 69 runs of it, it could just be that like the best of the best log their best runs, and it might be really hard to obtain because there's a big difference between pools from like 5 stacks that are coordinated that are doing like kicks and interrupt in stun like rotations. That can be a big difference from like if you're pugging and your tank's just pulling a pack at a time. This kind of damage might not be obtainable from somebody that's only or a sample size of only like 69 runs. But then when you have like 1.4 thousand, like this is a very good indicator of how Frost DK does at the top percentage in Priory. So anyway, yeah, that is mythicstats.com. You can also take a look at the meta here. So this is going to show you for each season. So you don't really need to scroll down. This is like War Within season 1, 2, and 3. You can see in season 3 for each week how each spec is like uh, matching up to the last week and also to each other. So I can see that like once Fury got buffed, you can see here Fury started getting played a lot more, getting a lot more percentage. But with Prot being so powerful, it's still getting a lot of play. So you're seeing mainly like Havoc, Frost DK, and Arcane Mage is like the most played. So this is really cool to use. You could see what's most popular, but popularity isn't always what's going to time your key. It's just they tend to be really good, so it gives you a good chance. All right, so that is mythicstats.com. Next, I want to talk about Keystone.guru. So this one is similar to raidplan.io, and the way that it is similar is that this is how people make Mythic Plus routes. So I'm just going to quickly show you how to make like a little mock route. I'll do like a keystone level of, let's just do a 12, and we'll do Halls of Atonement. So I did create route. I'm going to go ahead and create this route. Now, once you're in here, this is where you go to start formulating your route. So you can theory craft here. It's really cool. Even if you're not the tank, you can always come in and look and see if you could come up with like the new meta route. Who knows? You might cook up something lit. So let's say, for example, dungeon star here, right? We usually pull like these dark blades, um, this wandering houndmaster. Let's do these obliterators, the shard here down here, these groundskeepers, and let's um let's go ahead and grab these two obliterators as well. So this is the lust pool, right? And then so then I could do a new pool. After pool number one, I'm just gonna jump right off the edge, get boom, 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 and boom, grab these. Then we'll do another pool. We'll come out here, boom, 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 do them, and then we'll do this middle pack, keep going. And you can literally just, oh, I don't even, yeah, I clicked them. No, I didn't. Regardless, you can just keep going and create your whole route and visualize it and see exactly what percentage you're going to get. So it shows you each pack and what percentage it'll leave you with, so that you know if by the end of the dungeon, based on what you pulled, if that's going to be enough to have enemy forces or not, and make sure that you don't have to backtrack for any any percentage. So this is how people make routes. When you see routes being shared, if you don't want to make your own route and you're maybe a new tank and you don't really have routes, you're not really sure, you can always go to browse routes on the main page and go to popular. Or you can just look up for this week if there's been like dungeon changes or something, but you could probably just go to popular and you can grab routes from here. So this is Halls of Atonement. It's going to show you the route. You can get it to be shareable so that people can go and take a look at it in game, and then you don't even have to worry about making your own route. So that is Keystone.guru. Next, I'll talk about Blood Mallet. This one's a pretty quick one. So if you're not aware of Blood Mallet, this is basically a trinket website to see how trinkets are looking. Really useful when you're trying to figure out what trinkets you should be eyeing up. So I'm just going to do the example as Fury. So in here, it's going to tell you, so this is casting patchwork for one target. So this is basically saying what damage is looking like for each trinket for a sim on one target. You can do 3 and 5 targets as well. So here, the different colors are showing you each item level. So you know, this is green is going to be like what you're looking at for damage for a 723 Screams of Forgotten Sky. And then this blue down here would be like a 678 item level one. You can see here that, you know, Screams and Eradicating Arcano Core are the top two trinkets. And then, you know, you got Astral Antenna, Arakara. They like lag behind a little bit in single target. But then if you go to like 5 targets, you could see Curstone Idol and Astral Antenna sim the highest. Very important, because some people will take this as like scripture. They're like, yeah, Blood Mallet says this is my best. This is definitely my best. You still want to go and in raid bots sim everything, because just because this says it's your best doesn't mean it is, because you may have different gear and stat weights. This is running a generic sim. You can, I believe, I've never done it before. I usually just take this as like an idea, but I'm pretty sure you can import your own sim somewhere in here. This gives you like the gear and what it's running. Like you can see it's still running Mountain Thane, which we aren't running on 5 target anymore. So you got to take everything with a grain of salt. But it is useful just to see the raw stats based on a generic like ideal gear setup and whatnot, and understand like, okay, these are the trinkets that are going to be powerful for me and what I should be focusing on getting. So that is Blood Mallet, and it's very useful just for some extra information. Okay, I want to show you Warcraft logs. So this is one that I feel like most people know about, but the functionality maybe not so much. So I want to just pull up my warrior here, show a couple of things that I find to be important. So I want to just click on soul hunters. Okay, so we killed soul hunters the other night. This is I had a rough time getting good damage, but we killed them, so it doesn't matter. It was our first kill. So I can come in here by clicking on the soul hunters parse, and you can do this with any public parses. Like you can go out and look at the best person for your spec and see everything they did. So what I like to do is come in here, I'll go to my name, or I'll literally pull up two tabs and put them side by side, have my name and then like the person who played the best, and I will put side by side like I don't know why. There we go. I'll put side by side like this summary here that shows how many casts, and you got to take into account how long the fight was and stuff. But how many casts did I have versus what they had on each ability? Were they spamming something more than me, and that's why they had more damage? I'm not sure. I can go to summary for them and myself and check out like what talents were they running, import their talent build, look at their gear, and then you can also go to replay, and you can also do this for public logs, so this is really useful. You can do this for Mythic Plus as well, just going using the replay function. So here you can see from the start, you can literally look at everything. So I could click on myself and see the damage that I'm doing down here in the bottom left. It shows like the meters and how things are stacking up. I can look at where I'm positioned, where the group's positioned. You can watch everything here, as well as just seeing like uh, everything that was used as far as like what's doing damage. So, for example, Reap is popping off here, so you can assume I'm getting a lot of Reap procs. It's the beginning with Lust, and I'm just spamming Raging Blow, just farming like mad damage. So that is the replay function, very useful. And then, so if I come back here and go to timelines, in timelines, you can look into this. Oh, whoops. You can use this to look at what was being used in what order. This is just like a long timeline of showing all of my globals that I was using, when I was using them, and how they stacked up. So this is very useful for reviewing those things. Another thing that I'll do is I will, let's say I just got the Nexus King, right? So I might go to raids, Nexus King rankings, and then I'll filter by all classes, Warrior, Fury. I'll come in here, and before I even get to the boss, I will take a look at this. I'll say, okay, well, I have it on Mythic, so I'll say, okay, on Mythic, people that have killed this boss, this is what they typically bring. It tells you a percentage based on if people are changing some things, but this is a pretty straightforward idea of the talents that they're bringing. So I'll tend to start here, and then if I feel like something needs to be changed around, I'll do that. But um, you can then go in and find the top parses here for the people that really popped off in this fight. So I'll just go in and I can. Oh, I think I misclicked on something. But you can go in, you can take a look, see what their damage is, see what their breakdown was, their summary, and everything. So that's some really cool functionality with Warcraft logs, and I think it's very useful. So let's move on to the next one. We are almost done here. So we have mythictrap.com. So this one is very good for rating. It has a ton of information in the form of guides that have videos and text descriptions. So I can go to Maniforge Omega and go to Fractalus. Actually, maybe that's a bad idea. Let's go to Soul Hunters. It'll give me a fight overview, and then it will give me videos of the mechanics here that I can watch, as well as good descriptions, thorough descriptions of all of the mechanics and different things that you may have to do throughout the fight. They have this for each boss, just it can only be updated as like that's for normal. This is for mythic, where it'll add a lot of extra stuff, and then you can also filter it by what your role is, so it doesn't give you info that you may not need. But then this information only comes out as quickly as the person who's updating it makes the information. So, for example, mythic is still coming soon for Dimensius, as we're still pretty relatively early in the tier. but Mythic Nexus King is out. So very useful. Just for trying to get good visuals. Some people are visual learners, some people like to read and just try to take it in like in their head. This is a way to have both here at your disposal, and you can use it however you like. So next we're going to talk about Lorgs. So this is very important website. At least I use this a lot. If you don't want to go sifting through Warcraft logs, you could typically come here to lorgs.io. I'll click on Fury Warrior, for example, and it will give me, you can filter by the class here, but it'll give me, I have it on Mythic, let's say Lumathar. So it's going to show me the top 50 parses for Lumathar and the damage they did. And then let's say I wanted to see, like, I want to see if this guy's using Avatar every minute and 30 seconds, for example. So he uses it on the start. He gets power infusion. Cheater. So then uses it again at 131. Oh, I can take this off too to make it easier to see. Uses it again at 301. Uses it again at 431. So I can look here when on the timeline things were used, so I know when I should be using them. You can also see if people are getting PI and stuff, but regardless, these are the top logs. If you like what you see on somebody's damage, you can click this and it will take you, guess where, to Warcraft logs, and you can look at their logs specifically. So Lorg's super important for just checking where you should be looking at for each boss. Remember, some people have crazy gear or really, really good groups that kill fast, so you can't just base all of your damage on Lorg's top parses, but this is a good place to really strive to improve your game and become better. So that is Lorg's. And then lastly on our list, we have whitefest.gg. Shoot, I forgot to pull up a Warcraft log to import here. So let me do that. So Whitefest is going to show you like improvement stats. So I'm just going to pull in, I'll pull in our Soul Hunters Warcraft log. So you're just going to go to your log, right? So I have this log here for Soul Hunters. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it in here to search the report. Makes this a little bigger. It's going to go ahead and import it all. It's going to tell me a lot of useful information, right? So it gives you like parses as well, which you have to really analyze them to know whether they're parses that are they're fake parses, but whether they're parses that are like meaningful or things that you guys didn't really have issues with, so it doesn't matter so much. So first thing, we used 20 out of 20 flasks and ate all of our food. This is where you can kind of like rat on people for not eating food or using enchants and things like that. So it gives you a list of everybody in your group. You can see how many people are using battle pots and stuff, which is also very useful. So this is very important to make sure people are being held accountable for using potting or pots like battle pots, and also second potting throughout the fight, things like that. And then you can see, like, as far as it'll tell you based on other groups how you stacked up based on how much damage you took from certain things. So like we got hit by the hunt 2 times while already debuffed, so that means people died by getting hit by 2 hunts on Soul Hunters, so we got a 5 parse for that. Loxo and Merc, just come on guys. No, it's like but yeah, so you can take a look at this. Then you can also filter by players, and you can go and look and see how each person like parsed for the fight as far as their like mechanical performance. So it's a fake parse, but it's still important. So I can click on myself and see how I did as far as damage that I took from things. I think I got hit by one of those purple cones, which I think is Event Horizon, and so that took me down to a 60 because I shouldn't be getting hit by that. And yeah, so that's whitefest.gg. Very useful for trying to hold your entire group accountable. Anybody can look it up, so you don't need to rely on your raid lead to look at it. But that is going to be all of our websites. This has been WoW websites that are very useful and you may or may not know about, but diving into their functionality. I appreciate everybody for watching. I know this was a long one. I haven't done a video like this in a while, but it was a lot of fun. I hope you gained something from this, and if you did, feel free to let me know in the comments. Like, comment, and subscribe for more content, and I will see y'all in the next video. Join the Discord, it's in the description, and have a fantastic weekend. That's going to be it for me. I'm out. Peace.